You're a mean one, Mr. Mac. You stole your girlfriend's snack.
I didn't re-listen to the ends of Kids on Drakes to remind myself of what the fuck I said as the silhouette because I couldn't remember.
Oh, I have it written down somewhere.
Mhm.
Why is it always children?
Yeah.
Why is it always children?
Almost that exact delivery, too.
Well, who else is gonna stumble upon ageless entities of unknowable power?
We ready to Bitney this litany?
The thing I realized that we forgot to mention was for Kids on Drake was the actual ending where Urstella's question was, "What's the name of the Emperor?"
Oh yeah.
It ended there.
It's a hell of a question.
I did that one for Zad.
Yeah, that's a good project to have.
That might just be a whole arc in and of itself. Is what is with this guy?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there for Zad because Zad, the Empire is mostly your baby, and then also we get to play in your sandbox. I wanted to mess with your favorite little guy a little bit.
I know that that's discussions that we've had in the group chat about ways of interacting with the Emperor, and I'm excited to kind of get into that. Like I said, I mean, and this will probably come up as we discuss Bitter Litany, but Dead Emperor theory is a theory. Multiple emperors is one that I've been talking about for a while now because I think that
It was
that's
just kind of
funny.
my default assumption.
Was there ever even an emperor?
There's possibilities for something more, for putting a lot of layers and doing different things at different points. I think like at some point the question of like, okay, but what is the blood of the Emperor? That's a good question. That is a really good question. Because whatever it is, we know if House Imperialis manages it, which means we've got a guy who's potentially monkeying with it.
That's the thing. I like a lot of this arc has been me pulling the pin on a grenade, then putting it down for all of you guys and walking away. I have no plans with a lot of things I've said and went, okay, have fun.
I love that.
I know what happened, baby.
I really like the idea of the Empire's church and like doctrine. In its machinations, we established that like belief is something that like if a god, people, and the beliefs about them and their traditions go away, the god will eventually go away and die. Which, I mean, makes sense to me and feels very like in line with the rules of the setting in terms of like if things are left alone, they will kind of like go away and die off and things like that. But in my mind, that has to go the other way around. Where in my mind, my headcanon is that like there wasn't an emperor until the Empire like got the ball rolling and had this church that now has blood priests and vampires like spreading the good word, where the blood of the emperor wasn't anything until people started believing it was a thing.
Is he just some dude who lied his way into godhood and is taking over the continent? Who knows?
Be kind of funny.
Wouldn't be my first time.
That's one of the questions we asked and played with in the Bitter Litany.
Bitter
Which
Litany.
we kind of were touching on. We forgot to say the name out loud, but we're in the Bitter Litany now. And all 6 of us were there for that, correct? Yes? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We all did that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
Yep.
were there, baby.
Mm-hmm.
First off, shout out to Ben for having literal dozens of things
Yep.
to juggle that whole game. That's
Oh,
the most note taking I've ever done for this game, and I still don't know if it was enough because there was just so many proper
Oh,
nouns.
God.
And I did
Political-
all that with just a basic 2-page doc.
Political intrigue is a notoriously hard thing to keep track of when you're running a game. And Ben did it, so yeah, good job, buddy.
Thank you. the core lesson learned for me was that you guys cannot be mean to each other. It is not. That is not
bad at it.
something that I should expect of this table. That is not something that you all have access to.
All skills require practicing. We're
True.
just at the
We
start.
can get meaner.
We could try more.
You didn't give some of us a good enough reason to stab someone in the back. It's much more useful having these people as friends.
You're supposed to come to the table with your own reasons to stab people in the back. I can't also hand you motivations. That's really hard.
Hey, look, I showed up there willing to stab anyone for my wife. And, you know, no one got in the way of my wife. So I didn't have
For
to.
my Rob wife.
For my Rob wife. But that was my plan.
As we're getting started here, I think the world gen, the setting prep, establishing the houses, slapping a bunch of proper names on, that's some of the most fun I've had recording the show in a minute because it was really good.
That was definitely the most fun game prep, because a lot of these games we've had to like pre-make a couple things, or like at least like be like, where are we gonna be and everything. This was so fun.
I will say this isn't a shot at the game itself. This is generally a question. How much of that fun was because we had a world that we made already we're playing in, and how much of it was because of the setup from the game? Like genuine thought. Like I don't know.
And we knew that we were all just building a bunch of villains that we could just love to hate.
What was really great for me is the setup for the game does something which is really important, which is like it keeps the descriptions brief but evocative, right? Where it's like
Yes.
advisors and archivists, like shrewd, sharp tongue, like lots of like strong descriptors, but not a lot of like hard specifics. And that combined with the fact that we know very little about, but have some very strong feelings about the Empire, really fit super well together, I think. Because like when the game setup prompt had like, these people have this vibe, we're like, oh, well, of course that probably looks like this in the Empire. Like to me, it all flowed together with how the game was kind of written in terms of like the background they already had. It felt like it really meshed together well for me.
I think we were able to pick up a lot of momentum very quickly because of the pre-established world that we have, and we weren't looking at a blank page, but the prompts are also pretty good. Like those are very good prompts for a kind of guy, if the guy was an organization, but like it lets you generate organizations very quickly, and I think that is to the credit of the game.
It's also necessary to look at the way it's done two-dimensionally. It's not just that we created houses with certain personalities and roles within the kingdom and then named them. Part of it is also assigning them relationships with the other houses. The most provocative of those relationships, which was not one we explored, but the relationship between House Oberon and House Titan, which is somehow the bankers being in debt to a completely different house, was like, that's like a really weird dynamic.
Which came in
Absolutely.
part from the creation of the thing, because it was like, okay, we need a filthy rich house and we need a destitute house.
And we need a house that's indebted to another house, or a house that is like just completely under the thumb of a different house. And then it came up, it just landed like that. And we never really touched that because that was a level of political intrigue that I did not want to try to get into finances.
You want to do international banking and finance?
What do you mean?
I'm ready to explore that in a different context. That I was not ready to do that there. That would have been rough.
Listeners, send us your macroeconomic TTRPGs and we'll get on it.
Send us your wild theories about the markets.
One thing I'm curious about, because I went into, before we had even established all the houses and stuff, like pretty much wanting to be in the church for my character. Did anyone else feel strongly before or when we were building out the houses where you like, that's me?
So for me, I was spending most of the time going, should I be here? I'm not good at political intrigue stuff. I was like, should I sit out this one? So I definitely didn't have a plan. I kind of had an idea when we were looking at not playbooks. What were they called? No, playbooks. Yeah, playbooks. One of them was like, you take care of animals. And I went, that's a weird one. What does that look like in the worst place on Earth? And that's where Dr. Gawain came from. And I went, okay, cool, done. He goes, whatever makes the most sense. And then someone said, like, these guys are like the R&D department or something. I went, okay, cool, done. I'm gonna sit back now.
My plan going in before we sat was to fuck around with the Administratum. That was what I had originally thought I was going to be pursuing. Obviously, it went a different way. And also, like, Circum was supposed to be a bean counter. That went a different way. I was like, okay, I'm going to play a bean counter this time. That didn't happen. Maybe next time. I'll count them beans one of these days.
I'm really glad that I got to, I guess, sort of my self-insert DM antagonist got to be an administrator. I think that just felt right.
The Administratum being the actual BBEG of the Empire and/or style, like the people who are in the day-to-day of running the Empire being the like most devious in the most banal and otherwise ways, feels very, very good and right to me.
Very accurate.
Especially since the building that burned down in Zolo, the let it burn moment, was the administrative building. I honestly didn't have like a whole lot of an idea going in about what house I wanted to be in, but when I was looking at the different playbook options, I was like, the Spare and the Spider.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. I got it. And I had a lot of fun coming up with Lorelai, and also, fun fact, her sister being pregnant was just kind of like a last minute addition that I just kind of tossed in there because I was like, I need to give her motivation. So I was like, her sister's having an illegitimate child, and she's just kind of preparing for when her sister gives birth to become the official court-recorded mother, and is just going to possibly kill her sister, sell out her house, and then go off with the child and just be the best damn mom she can be. She got part of what she wanted.
A child.
Yeah, she's got a newborn that is potentially the future of the Empire, and is something that has never been seen before. And she's also got Riff, who just follows her around.
I would not say she has Riff.
And
She
you
is
have Riff.
she is an anchor point for Riff.
Riff has her.
Yeah. I think I made it off camera comment about she doesn't even know where this kid came from. He just kind of showed up one day. And he's been really useful and trustworthy.
I really want Riff to meet the kids from Primsol now.
Riff gives me the vibe of when you see people walking their dogs and it's very clear the dog is walking the person, like is leading the person on the walk. Only one half of this relationship is on the level of what's actually going on here.
I don't even necessarily think that like Riff is even being manipulative. I think Riff just likes Lorelai a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just kind of imprinted on her like mother duck, and she's just like, okay, sure.
Oh, you give me fun things to do.
Well, and it's not like he's gonna get in trouble. He always knows the safest place to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Weird. Have we ever met someone like that?
Lex is like gesturing at me violently at the camera.
It is also weirdly flattering that this kid who always knows where the safest place to be is just comfortable being around Lorelai.
True. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Considering she almost straight up... I did briefly consider having the scene with the Plier Venomous trade go differently. But I was like, with how everything had unfolded, it just made more sense to leave her muddled and confused, but leave her alive. If they had found her dead, there'd be a manhunt after me like no one's business. So Lorelai's just like, okay, she's not gonna remember that I was ever here, and I'll just, kind of disappear linger in the background, just kind of keep moving further and further away, depending on how long it takes for me to get confirmation that the Sangurk is back, assuming I even want to give him this kid. And then maybe hop borders one day. Never know. She trusts Riff.
Part of the assembly of Bitter Litany is we get our cast of characters, and all the cast of characters have motivations that they're supposed to be pursuing, but then I'm supposed to develop a plot in the background that I start weaving out as the game progresses. I think one of the challenges that I had, and this I always have this challenge when I'm doing political intrigue, is not tipping my, I don't tip my hand quite enough. You always need to give more information than you're supposed to. So I started it with the land dispute in Primsol, but that wasn't actually the plot. The plot that I had developed was the consolidation of the houses. Who thinks they got it before the reveal? Nah.
Genuinely do not remember what was all in my head at that point. I was suffering from so much imposter syndrome.
Look, every time Gawain says something like, I don't care, that would replace it with me going, I don't know.
I was also thinking about sitting out that game and was like, oh no, Xana Kostovich, I want it.
I was definitely very lost in Anatol Sauce in terms of in my mind, I was so busy. I don't need to figure out whatever Ben is doing. Anatol is I didn't imagine him much of as a schemer, and that turned out to be very aggressively true, where he is just kind of a points in one direction and just barges towards a problem. It was also very funny to me that he was trying to do the consolidation of houses, and then another group decided to do that. I was like, wait, no, don't do that. No, not that way. Not that way. My way.
I was fully looking at things from Lorelai's point of view, and I'm like, that's up what I was strongly considering basically just selling out my entire house to Xana Kostovich.
I think I noticed it once we hit the talk with Dunes, and then I was like, no, I don't want this guy to go away right now. We're not doing this. No.
Okay, wait, tell me about that.
I like having more subterfuge there, and also just the talk about the military, the Navy. That was very good and compelling. I like that. I like this idea. I don't like this idea of another house getting control of that. I want to keep the powers separate. Oh, okay. Let's not consolidate powers until I know that I can have them.
Zad is making an extremely thoughtful face right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
great.
about I had an idea of the Nilesian doctrine that Bahamut was preoccupied with as the necessity for internal competition in order to keep things strong. And in terms of the reveal, Deidre having Regis's baby was a real surprise. That one caught me way on the back foot.
I think I actually made that suggestion out loud while we were recording in the setup.
If it was said, I didn't know until it was actually said at the table whose kid it was. And to me, the motives that are the most inscrutable are still kind of Canastia's. I'm not 100% sure what her game is to this day. I knew from the dance conversation that I was probably going to back House Dunes because I'd been looking for an opportunity to fuck over Maximus Rex the entire time. And it's okay, so here's step one of that. What if I got Dunes on my side and tried to make something of the lowliest house? But yeah, I don't know, up until we get to the One Vision speech, I think that idea of attempting to prevent consolidation, that's a fun thing to hang the whole nonsense on.
Well, what I needed something to center Primsol, and I needed to turn Primsol into an important inflection point, but I needed it to not be about Primsol so that we wouldn't talk about Primsol. The episode title, We Need to Talk About Primsol, for those who don't know, is based on the title of the movie We Need to Talk About Kevin, which is about a teenage boy who is showing more and more dangerous behavior and then ends up killing a bunch of people at his school. And the idea of the title is the reason the horror happens, the reason the bad things happen is because no one stops and says those words out loud. We need to talk about Kevin. And so I'm like, all right, that's kind of my thinking is we need to talk about Primsol, but like no one ever actually talks about Primsol. How there's a spy master there, how it's not just the tipping point for this big consolidation push, it's also
Deeply
the
cursed.
tipping point for this like growing rebellion.
And it's deeply cursed.
Yeah.
No one has been able to leave for 5 years.
Things are not good there, and no one is talking about why or what might be going on. The way it's constructed is I'm supposed to build a plot, and then the whole crew is supposed to get as distracted from that plot with their own petty issues as humanly possible, which did happen. Part of why
Didn't even have to try, really.
I think part of why Bitter Litany ran so long is because I was like, okay, we've been like interacting and sort of like building up kind of our own little individual plots, but if we want to make this like a satisfying thing, I actually need to start like reining in some sort of a central plot line, which is where I think that there are kind of two phases in Bitter Litany, which is everything before the tournament and then the tournament and after are like the two big moves in BL.
Yeah.
And the conversation Lorelai had with Bahamut where she just agreed, like, I'm sure that I could get you a WMD. I remember, like, Bahamut, you had shared the story of what happened to their Drake. Kind of like a, I understand your pain, I understand what it is to lose something, and she's just got a really nice face on, but my mom died, my dad was murdered, I was supposed to die. It's not the same as you losing your pet Drake.
Right. Bahamut comes from a
Now I
position
have
of
your
privilege.
nephew.
Right. That's never really been the project. The project has always been like fuck over dad. The attempt, yeah, sure, like you have a very valid point of, hey, those two tragedies don't exactly rate next to one another, but the goal is, you know, and to get back to what we were talking about earlier about the old generation never aside for us, which is like part of why I think, you know, we're so haunted in this game, but like to force that move of, you know, I needed something to motivate. I guess that was the specific part of the Pearl move that I used was I had to offer some genuine intimacy. And so I guess you can feel however you want about it, but it was effective.
Yeah, for Lorelai, I was a little bit of a definitely spoiled rich kid. But I like the way you think, and you were going to be a very useful ally.
I mean, I hope so. I needed to get the renewal paperwork.
Yeah.
And you have the renewal paperwork. And Lorelai's is going to be nowhere to be found until everything shakes out.
That's fine.
Riff doesn't potentially talk her to going elsewhere. Because she never had a particularly strong connection to... Well, she has the strong connection to the Ordo Principium, does not have a strong connection to the Archduke. Doesn't care for his family, doesn't care for the current leadership, she cares for the people, the soldiers. And she's like, the way we've been doing things isn't working. Things need to change. And as long as this asshole's in charge, gesturing at her bio dad, it's not going to change. So she's been gathering, making connections, and getting power of her own. To when she would see an opportunity, make him go bye-bye.
All I can tell you about Renadia, she's going to be there when the whole thing burns down.
I like my wife and I love my dogs.
How can you make Gawain sound so normal?
You know,
It is fun. It is fun.
Hashtag relationship goals.
I think the best villains live in the extremes of something normal.
Having that balance of people who have these, like, long-running, like, deeply complicated plots going on in the background, and then having characters that are just like, but my wife.
I love my wife.
I just want to be with my wife. It's a good balance.
I was calling Rob's character my wife for so long. I fully lost track of what your character's gender actually was.
Yeah, valid.
I
Yeah, what
cannot
is
tell you their
Anatel? Did they
pronoun.
give up gender with their name?
I think I would just like he, they.
Sounds right.
I believe you. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I was like, I just
will
went my
say-
wife.
I also was very surprised, like I surprised myself with Anatel, because in my mind I was like, oh, I'm gonna do like so many things. And then one thing I liked that Ben did is, as soon as I started getting a bit into the weeds with Anatel, I would get some kind of portentous vision and be like, well, I'm a vassal. I gotta go fucking figure that out. Like, I got a job here. I gotta clock back in.
And that's convenient.
It's nice having a character I can feed visions to.
Yeah.
That's always a good tool to have in your toolbox. A character who you can just
Keep
like,
that in mind for next campaign.
yeah, like a
Like-
character who gets visions, or like a character who has a boss who can call them at a given time. Like,
Mhm.
hey kid, we got a job for you, and you just like need to move the plot forward.
Listen here, Gumshoe. That's what Sangdark sounds like.
If Anatel had not had a bunch of visions, in my mind, I was gonna start figuring out the logistics of like starting a miniature like crusade within the Empire for like Anatel's own goals of like, let's whip up some religious fervor. I mean, the first thing I did was denounce your whole house, Bahamut, right? And I was like, maybe that's not enough. All right, all this like wheeling and dealing isn't getting me the consolidations that I want. What if we just really put our finger on the scale, you know?
That would have been one way to piss off Renatia.
Absolutely.
I remember that moment because it was like kind of your introductory scene, and then that I asked the question like, do you do this a lot? Because in my mind, this is just a once weekly thing, like where they're like at the penguin where they have the picture of the nice penguin and the naughty penguin, and it's just
What? What are you
I
talking
thought
about?
you just picked. I just thought you every week you picked a house to be pissed at and a house to compliment just for fun, just as like a
Yeah.
form of controlled opposition.
Also, is that a thing they do for penguins at the zoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Sometimes.
fun thing. You put a poster up, and it'll be like, this penguin was nice because he did all of his tricks and ate his fish. This
Huh.
penguin was naughty because he
I
picked on
don't
his little
zoo
brother. It's
or
super cute.
aquarium much. I've never seen that.
Oh, you can find them online. Here, hold on. I'll find one for you.
I've never seen that in person, but I've seen it online. It is quite funny.
I've never seen that. It's really funny.
Yeah. Also, Lex, always love when you get to make up creatures.
I do like making creatures. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Mhm,
creatures.
mhm.
It's one of
We
your
love
one
that.
of your big skills, gotta say.
We love
Thank you,
that, and we
thank
love
you.
that for you.
Hit up Lex if you need creatures.
Just weird
Uh,
little guys.
Yeah, I was glad that I made enough creatures. I was like, hey, roll for it.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And there's other ones just sitting there, not awake yet. We'll get there. Maybe they'll never wake up. I don't know, but they're there.
If we're ever doing Gawain as a boss, that's like just and it's a Pokemon trainer fight. Just like so much fun.
Every time I think of Gawain, I jump scare myself because I forget about the arms and hands for a minute. And then I remember, and it's like, oh god.
That was fun. Being like, oh, my favorite hand.
Content warning for Dr. Gawain.
Many hands.
Anyway,
there's,
Zad, you were saying?
there's a penguin with a monkey picture. Okay, yeah, okay.
Penguin of the month picture.
Mr. Max stole his girlfriend's fish.
Even
the
though
fuck?
she is predominantly blind. That's so mean.
Oh,
What
Meanwhile,
the
Dora
Mr.
was a little
Mac.
sweetie.
Mr. Mac.
Wow, Mr.
Mr.
Mac, you're
Mac.
a dick.
What an asshole.
You're a mean one.
This fucking penguin.
Mr. Mac.
So rude.
You stole your girlfriend's snack. Anyway,
Never change, please. I love it.
Cold intro, thanks.
yay, my first one.
Boy, that's gonna be wild out of context. But like to get to the whole like Anatel getting visions and Canastia being able to just like astrally project conversations, trying to do recaps from from a perspective of a person who like needs to be able to like physically know things. Boy, stuff that just happens in people's heads is very difficult to recap from that perspective.
That was the thing
Yeah,
I meant
fair.
to ask about, and I forgot. The recaps as the bitter litnist.
Mhm,
Do we
mhm,
establish
mhm.
that's actually what they're called in our in setting, or is that just what we're calling them in chat?
The lady whistle down paper send up is
Yeah.
called the bitter litany, and the writer is the bitter litanist.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to make. I wasn't sure if that was like
Yep.
what we were saying in our group chat, or that was actually the official canon. I couldn't remember.
763rd.
Yeah, Bahamut and Lorelai had a brief conversation about it. Lorelai's just like,
Yeah,
Ah.
I think
they do have some interesting stuff.
it gets name checked a couple of times.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Gawain for
She
sure
wants
doesn't
to
read.
find them because they have information and she wants it.
I feel like the bitter litness is one thing Renatia reads themselves
Uh-huh.
and does not have other people read to them.
But like publicly denounces.
Yeah. No, Gawain.
yeah.
If
But has written opinion pieces anonymously.
When we get bored, like one page in.
like, who is this? They take the pages that mention Anatel and like
Put
put
'em
them
on
on
the
the
fridge.
fridge, and that's it.
Even the mean ones, because it's written in such a prose where it's not always clear if they're being mean, and it's just, oh, you got mentioned. You're in the news.
Oh, babe.
I did have a random thought, I have to have it be a thing, but plot twist, it's just Riff.
I don't. Oh, honey, I don't think he can write that good.
My theory is the litanist could be anyone. I think that there are a lot of high-ranking nobles who leak to the litanist specifically to
absolutely.
stir shit up.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Oh, Renatia? Is Renatia one of them? Is that what I'm seeing? Your hand goes up,
Oh, yeah.
Renatia
Oh yeah.
reads it privately
Lorelai.
and then leaks information to the bitter litanist.
I love the
Absolutely.
idea of Renatia correcting the litness. Being like, actually, it's worse than that.
A frequent contributor has some pen name. You'd think I'd be too busy for it, but no, this is important.
You make the time.
It is.
I'm playing chess with the world.
I'm playing
Mhm.
chess while you're all playing checkers.
You joke, and
Uh-huh.
yet
Uh-huh.
that is how.
Sorry, the silence made me think, oh, that didn't hit.
No, the silence made me think we lost Ben again.
Everyone's saying,
Oh, we did.
everyone's laughing at me. Everyone's laughing at me.
Oh, we did.
Oh, we did!
Wait,
Absent chat.
Ben is frozen. I'm getting a bit of the tired brain. I'm good to keep going, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think we're,
responses might be slow.
I think we're good to maybe start transitioning into
Yeah.
our last friends here.
To Nowhereville,
Yeah, unless we've
where I
unless people
had
got a lot
no
more.
plan and made it weird.
See, here's the thing about Bitter Litany. Just as with playing it, we could keep going. It's not that we don't have things to say, it's that we need to choose when to move.
Brew.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben's back.
Speaking of,
I do
Yeah.
also just genuinely love that we just called it Bitney Litany.
Bitney
Yeah.
Litany
Yes.
is our inside.
thank you,
Yeah.
Rob.
That's my
It's so true.
To
my
finish
oldest.
up on that, does anybody have the name of the author? Because I really do want
I'm
to shout
sure
that
we
out.
have it somewhere.
Yeah, that's another one we got to play in advance. We love playing advanced copies.
Yeah, we're that cool
That's
now.
fantastic.
wild. Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
Yeah, we got a good, like I would say we got a pretty solid run in. I think that there are people out there that are playing another game that actually want to be playing the Bitter Litany, and it does
Not
the
bending
thing that it
for its
does.
own-
Yeah, it does the thing that it does of giving you the tools for interpersonal conflicts and broad scale political intrigue. It's a very good toolkit. When that comes out, I highly recommend that people check that game out.
Luke
Absolutely.
Jordan is the author, by the way.
Yes.
Luke Jordan
Thank
is
you,
the
Luke.
writer of Bitter Litany.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Mm.
Should have mentioned that earlier. We just sort of jump scared ourselves with the jump into Bitter Litany and forgot to shout out the creator who did send us an advanced copy.
Yeah.
It is still being worked on currently. I don't know what the status is or anything like that. You can find Luke Jordan, I think, primarily on Tumblr. I haven't really seen him on Blue Sky or anything, but yeah, feel free if you liked that episode, if you liked what we did, shout him out. Be like, hey, can't wait to see Bitter Litany.
If you want to scream about Game Woven on Tumblr, please do and tag it. I'll find it. Even if you don't tag it, I'll find it.
Despite the fact that I am really bad at political intrigue games, it was still a really good game. I just,
Yeah, it
my
was a
brain
lot of
don't
fun.
do that. But good game.
I found the moves like really, really good. I think there were a couple where we kind of had to sort of twist our brains around how we wanted to make a move work. I found it really forgiving at first. I think like we probably went the first like session and a half without anyone like really failing a roll. And
Mhm.
then once we got a failure, I realized why the game is so forgiving. Holy shit, failure in that is
Failure
bad.
hurts, yeah.
It's
You get
bad.
rocked. It's nasty.
Uh-huh.
Hey, and if you're going against if the prince decides, success can be pretty unforgiving too.
Yeah, that's the
True.
thing. The asymmetric, the incorporation of one character potentially as the prince, that was wild when we bumped into a major conflict with that.
Yep, it sure shook things up a bit.
It's a cool mechanic.
Very cool mechanic, and there's a high likelihood that I'm going to potentially game that over on Pseudonym Social whenever the game comes out.
Well,
Oh,
the
yeah,
other thing
yeah,
is
yeah.
we didn't
Exactly.
even scratch the surface. We ran a truncated version where we only had 3 bright dreams each. We didn't really hit a lot of people's bright dreams. We didn't get into a lot of people's individual plots. Like if you had a
And it was
5-person
still
table,
that long.
and it was still
Yeah.
that long. If you had a 5-person table and you were getting into all of their plots in addition to the plot that history is running, you're talking about a game that could easily last a year or two.
Minimum year-long campaign if you like play it rules as written, which is great.
Notes
Like-
are your friends.
It's most games, at least the ones I bumped into, because I'm sure there's exceptions I just haven't seen yet because who's played every game. Like most of the time
Yeah.
when I'm looking at games, the games that last a year-long campaign are like D&D and D&D clones.
Yeah.
And so it's usually not a lot of other things that can do that. PBTA can for some of their games, but like a lot of them have endings built in where, like the one thing about is Masks. It's built in that your character grows up and like becomes an NPC if you play long enough. And like
Mhm.
a lot of games have stuff like that built in, and very few things are D&D open ended like that. And Bitter Litany is, and I don't know if that's a thing that like a lot of people feel like is missing, but I did, so I'm very happy to see it.
What's cool is Bitter Litany does have an ending. It does have an ending written into it. But it takes a long time to get there because the ending is basically once everyone's bright dreams have run out,
Yeah.
the idea is that the kingdom is in decay, it is falling. And so like once all the dreams are gone, that's the end of the kingdom as well. And so you're kind of so the end of a Bitter Litany campaign, like the full thing, is the actual end of that court, that empire, and like that house. The whole thing just fucking falls apart, which is astoundingly sad because normally when you think about a game like Monster of the Week, you hit max level and you're supposed to like retire out or become like an NPC. Monster Hunter Mask,
Yep.
you become an NPC because you grow up, like those kinds of things. This one, it's over. Not only are you out of the picture for one reason or another, your whole fucking the whole society is also out of the picture.
A real race to the bottom.
And the game doesn't even
Yeah.
have the kindness to kill you.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, unless you narrate in your epilogue that you've passed of natural causes, you just have to sit
Yeah.
there in the ruins and be like, well, all my dreams are dead.
Yeah.
You guys just gave me 3 album titles in one go. Jesus Christ. Once All the Dreams Are Gone. Name of my Midwest emo album. The Kindness to Kill You. Are you kidding me?
That's a great band
Sit
name.
there in the ruins? Come on.
Kindness to Kill You is a great band name.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what else is a great band name?
Nowhere.
Nowheresville.
Yeah.
Nowhereville.
We know exactly where you were going. To Nowhereville.
So this game holds a special place in my heart because it's how I've gotten to go to Gen Con the past 2 years.
Hell yeah.
And how I'm probably going to be able to go next year.
Tell us about running it in Game Woman World.
All the other times I've run Nowhereville, I just had a random ran through a couple different versions of it. This time, this is my first time running it in a pre-existing space.
Mhm.
And where like I had to make some adjustments because I can't have the big bad evil secret thing is caused by the founder of the town, because the founder of the town's probably dead. We don't know who found it. Brimsol.
Mhm.
Croc Chuckwall is still around.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. We know exactly who the founder of the town is. He won't let you forget.
Yeah, true. And so yeah, it was a different setting that I'm used to running that game in.
Yeah.
But I did have fun with it. Especially with the monsters, although y'all just kind of ran away and pieced the fuck out from most of the monsters I tried to throw at you.
Understandable. That's the correct answer when faced with
My
monsters,
fault.
personally.
Also, I did establish that it is possible to communicate encoded messages through pieces of paper that are enchanted to look just like blank pieces of paper unless they're being looked at by the person it was written to. And that the messages on that paper can change.
It sounds like that's bordering on contract magic, or we also wait, I'm trying to remember. I know we had in Rob's Fiasco game, there's a god of ink and paper, but also one of the gods like that's not my thing. Was that him? I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, squid.
Squid. Yeah.
Is he still the god of ink and paper, or was he the one that was like actually teehee lol?
No. Squid's
Who was
Squid's still
that?
Squid.
Squid was like
Yeah.
the more eldritch-y of the gods in those realm, where Squid was kind of like maybe not even like related.
So there's kind of the possibility that Penelope has a blessing or something from Squid.
Yeah.
As well as the ability to see possibilities.
Never getting over that we have a character named Squid in the canon.
To be fair, you don't even necessarily need to have a blessing. So Squid is a agent of chaos, and so would just do that kind of effect because it would lead to an interesting story. They fully only care about compelling stories.
Mhm.
Well, if there's one thing these kids have, it's compelling stories.
True.
Yeah, they wandered into the blood fountain and ended up in past Brimsol ? Whether they actually time traveled or went to an illusory version. Then passed briefly through another place, and whatever lived there noticed. I ain't touching that anytime soon, but that's a thing.
This is probably not the first time that Ellis has been in the blood fountain. Just saying.
In the opening crawl, Ellis is dancing with his 5 best friends in the blood fountain. If I
I don't get the wef wins.
it was a Friends reference.
Oh. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
There we go.
Okay, I get it now.
Oh yeah, that was just my band.
I just threw a bunch of weird things in there.
You did, and together we made a very polite villain.
Yeah. That was very fun. That was very fun. Honestly, like, I think Penelope's goal in all of that, get that spirit attached to Ellis, because she knew Ellis would never. She didn't plan on Dante being there.
Yeah.
And Dante's just like, yeah, sure.
Well, then Penn should have written something else on the paper.
Should have left clearer instructions.
You didn't see that possibility.
I was like, at the end of this, Dante will be like, maybe I've been indoctrinated and I should think for myself. And then I was like, ooh, Kool-Aid.
And you just guzzle it down.
Yummy.
I do still
favorite
have
Kool-Aid.
some weird circlet thing called the siphon.
Yep.
Don't know what that's about.
It can take emotions away from one person and give it to another person. At least that's what it does in the context of Nowhereville. There might be a lot more to it. There's, for some reason, it was buried where the bar would one day be. Also where the hole in the ground is, except for there weren't any of the holes in the ground or the giant bird skeleton. But we might have heard the giant bird before we all jumped off the cliff.
As one does.
Caca.
Yes.
When your friend says jump, you jump.
Well, gosh. If anyone here has seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer season, I don't know, I think 4 with the mayor, that was accidentally the vibe that we created for this new lovely villain. Just someone committing
Yep.
atrocities and horrors while being like real sweet about it the whole time.
It's sad because like all of the kids had crushes on Dante,
Of course.
and now she's this.
It's fine.
Look, we all had that kid in high school who was hot and nothing else and grew up to be kind of awful.
And then absorbed an evil spirit or of some
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
This is just a season of Buffy.
Well, of course I know him. He's me.
He's me.
Oh no!
I mean, in our world, the evil spirit is just like one of those MLM
Yeah,
like
yeah.
beauty care companies.
Yeah.
I always have
Yeah.
to remind myself MLM means multi-level marketing scheme, not
Yeah.
man loves man.
Yeah,
I have to remind myself every time.
I always listen when
Yeah.
I see it in either form. My brain always pronounces it "mlum."
Yes.
Like
That's another cold open that I will save for when we've completely forgotten about this conversation.
tomorrow.
I wanted to ask. One of the central conceits was that we would establish we're establishing characters with kids on Drakes, and then we're bringing them back in Nowhereville with changes and sort of this experience. We had originally talked about trying to break an altogether different river into 2 parts, but decided that wasn't going to work. So we did this instead. From some of the players and some of that, like what sort of shifts did we see with our characters and Primsol and all of that? Like what were we walking into with?
For me, it was going from NPC to player. I didn't get to do the same vibe, but part of Nowhereville is writing down your character's fears, and the fear I went with was change. I was like, yeah, they've been the same the whole time. Change is bad and scary.
That explains why you never made Dampier.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the fact that not long after Ellis left, something happened to where no one can leave.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ellis came back and found out about that.
Found out that he couldn't leave all of a sudden. Time permitting, I do kind of want to get into what being fostered by Bahamut, because I think like internal discussions,
Yeah.
the 5-year time break is when we talked earlier about in the Bitter Litany, the 5-year time break between like the incident and Primsol. Oh wow, we kind of worked the timeline around a bit, didn't we?
We did. We had an idea of the timeline, but it didn't quite fly with everything we did. And we
Yeah.
went, we'll fix it later. And
Yeah.
it's later.
A lot of our is we're dealing with vampires. We can do a hand wavy
Mhm.
because what is time to an immortal being?
Things moved really quickly after the tournament happened, but before that, we don't know how much time passed between. Except for I guess now we do know how much time passed between the
Mhm.
conversation with Count Dunes and the tournament.
Yeah, the point like that I'm getting to, like to get causality moving, we have the mind dispute has to have spun up very, very quickly, I guess, for the timeline to keep working, because it's like the mine owner getting blasted in half is what prompts the mind dispute that is like those first couple of conversations into that conversation with Dunes, which means that Ellis kind of has to leave before the curse sets in, before nobody can leave. And then it's like the 5-year gap is everything between the conversation with Anatel, Bahamut, and Dunes up to the tournament. So it's like, I guess we can assume that Ellis was around for some of the stuff that was happening.
I mean, Dunes was there as well. Dunes was at the Imperial City. There's no reason Ellis wouldn't be
True.
during the conversation. And
Yeah.
then what's funny is that the mind dispute is still ongoing.
5 years later.
Like, we're talking about glacial timescales. Like, they're still
Yeah.
arguing over fucking Primsol.
Mm.
Of course.
And haven't even realized yet, likely, that no one can leave Primsol.
Yeah.
Who fucking
Yeah.
cares?
What are you going to do? Send a messenger? Guess what? They're there now. They can't leave and tell you what's going on.
Mhm.
To this day, Bahamut does not care about Primsol.
It's only if you're there for more than a couple of hours that you will never be able to leave
But-
again.
for the benefit of the listener, like that's the beginning and the end of the Bitter Litany are about 5 years apart, and then Ellis gets back from being fostered. And I would like at some point to dig in a little bit to
Yes.
that.
Ellis shows up about somewhere around the start of Bitter Litany and leaves about the end of Bitter Litany.
Before the tournament.
Or is sent back because of the tournament. Because of the poisoning of Regis, essentially. Like, this is not meant to be a permanent, okay, you can go back to Primsoul now. It's, hey, we've got to take a break from this for reasons that you might understand later in life. We'll send for you when you can return. You're not done yet. 5 years, that's nothing.
Ellis probably like got back home around the time that everyone except for Lorelai met at the crossroads.
The crossroads? Oh, that's great.
To check my own understanding, the person that is speaking, they go back in time, they meet the necromancer. Necromancer's after the siphon. And the person that speaks to the party in their head, that's the same person from Tarsig, right? The one character that just kind of got like erased from everybody's memory in Tarsig.
Ooh, that's a good thought, but no.
No.
The
okay.
person that's talking.
So separate
Damn,
separate
That is
parts.
an excellent.
That's sick. But no.
I didn't even think about
Wrong.
that. I do like that. No, this is an entity that is akin to the silhouette, or it
Gotcha.
knows of the silhouette.
Mhm.
Okay.
So something older.
Gotcha.
I do need to bring the wraith back into something though, but that entire conversation would have been gone. From my
Oh,
mind.
right.
I like the way you're thinking, but
Right.
no.
I like the cut of your jib.
I just assumed
But
it was
then-
another
No.
Bree thing.
I assumed it was another mysterious woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An entibri, if you
A
will.
lot of those going around. Figments and such.
That just leaves the question: is there a lot of them, or just different facets of the same one? I don't
Mhm.
know.
We'll find out
I-
someday, maybe, or we won't.
You know,
There's
the
only
god of
one
mysterious
mysterious-
women.
Who doesn't love Mysterious Women? We don't have one in a lake distributing swords yet, but
The thing about the god of mysterious women is you're talking about, like, this is the kind of god that would have been created, the first iteration of a mysterious female
Uh-huh.
animal. So, like, as soon as the gender, like, as soon as there was sexual dimorphism, you have a god of mysterious women.
the first woman was the original Mysterious Woman who became the god of Mysterious Women.
And you also it has to be the kind of sexual dimorphism where the female is the less impressive of the two because they need to be staying home with eggs. Also, hey, for my benefit, I apologize for the sound mixing on the recap for 1.21 gigawatts. It sounded fine in my headphones.
Oh, gotcha. I haven't heard it yet.
The instrumental track's a little bit too low in the mix, and I deleted that file. So, rip, my apologies. I'm not good at editing. It is what it is.
I was
That's okay.
impressed.
We
Cool.
have an editor and a half in this group. It's okay. You don't have to be good at it too.
Yeah.
You went extra on those
Yeah.
recaps, and it was impressive, and I applaud that.
Thank you.
Yeah, this season really was Zav being like, how much effort can I put into the recap?
How
Hmm.
hard can I go with the recap?
Zad did go hard in the recaps, yeah.
Yeah, and how do we feel? So, okay, this is a process question. One of the things that's kind of important to me, the Nowhereville ones definitely stretch this in a way that I'm not 100% comfortable with, but part of the reason that I want to have good recaps is as an accessibility feature for people who have attention disorders so that you can get that refresher. How did we feel about those being in character and also like Chuck Wallace not a reliable narrator? Clearly, but that's like, I mean,
That can be kind of deadly, obviously, but I think it works though because we're still getting
all of the bits.
what you lose in the facts, you gain in like a larger grounded context. And I was thinking about this during the especially the Bitter Litany recaps because you did so freaking many of those. it wasn't necessarily about the truth of what happened in any given circumstance. It was more
Yeah.
about the vibes of the thing that happened, you know?
Mhm.
Right. It had to be vibed in some cases because some of those conversations had two people in the room.
I think it definitely worked in the context for that, and when you did it with city planning department. I don't know if it's something we can swing with every game. It might be easier to just go back to Lex or like kind of rotate around, but I did enjoy that.
It's going to be a bit more straightforward for the next arc.
Well, we are exiting the concept of arcs and we are transitioning into the concept of a campaign now. Upcoming, we are shifting gears. We feel built enough stuff in the continent of Norequis, the woven world, that we are actually going to, in our next, I guess you could call it a season or like campaign 2. Like, this is the end of campaign 1, quote unquote. And so now we're in we're going to do campaign 2. And our goal is to do a traditional campaign, but we're going to make it weavy.
Which
And
means
that's
not
it.
traditional, but that's
Yeah.
us.
With bits. Traditional campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you were going to say make it weird, which is also true.
You beat me to it, dang it.
We're going to get our cast of heroes, and we're going to get a system that's got weapons in it where you level up and you do fights. You know what
You
I'm
make
saying? Like, we're gonna do all sorts of the old school, not the old school. We're not doing like OSR, but like we're doing the globe trotting heroes walk across the continent to kill God style of campaign.
We are building our fellowship to take the ring to Mordor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might ultimately
Yes.
be fabulous.
It's gonna.
Maybe.
But in the meantime, we're gonna mix in as many other elements as we can because we can't fucking help it.
Mhm.
It's a compulsion now. This will never leave us. But we are
We
stuck
built an
with it,
entire
and you are stuck
podcast
with
on
us.
it.
Uh-huh.
We might
here
have 5
forever.
plot threads. Potentially 5 different plot
But
threads.
yeah, it might fabulously be ultimate.
No, Lex, don't.
Lex, keep
we haven't-
going.
We haven't actually settled on the system, Lex. I know you're trying to hint
That's
at
what I'm saying, might.
Right. Oh my god. We're talking about Fabula Ultima. We're talking about a couple of other systems. We're trying to figure out which one's going to work for us. Most importantly, looking for systems that can sustain long-term campaign play, that feel weavy, and ideally that have world-building elements incorporated into them.
But I can hear you typing Dungeons and Dragons. Get out.
Get out.
Stop it.
Nobody listening to this show is going to type in Dungeons and Dragons.
If you're
gotta
listening
be
to the
indie.
show and you're going to say it, just don't.
I can
Stop.
hear it.
Get some help.
Some
What the
motherfucker's
fuck was
gonna
that
try and
guy's
get us to play
name?
more and more.
Who I fake doxed? What was his name? I forgot.
Ted Jones.
Head Jones.
Ted Jones.
Ted
Ted
Jones. I can hear you typing D&D.
Telluride,
I
Colorado.
miss you, Ted Jones. You're a beautiful little frog.
Oh, we killed him.
almost did a full episode of Cross Stitch without mentioning Ted Jones. What are we doing? What have we become?
Ted Jones stopped playing role-playing games after the birth of his son. That was 30 years ago. He hasn't actually touched a role-playing game since 2nd edition. Still bitches about them on the forums. Non-stop, you can find his ass on Reddit.
Okay, moving
Fucking
on
skill
from the
issue,
bit.
Ted. I played more after my kid was born.
I know, right?
Play with your kid.
I don't know if that's the official announcement, but that's going to be what we're going to do for campaign 2. We're going to roll up some characters. We're going to do the polyhedrals, and we're going to make that shit happen. It's going to be tight. It'll be coming early next year sometime. We're going to start rolling that out. So keep your eyes peeled and stay weavy. This has been Cross Stitch.
Yeah.
He'll be a Blorbo.
Be patient. Your editor needs a vacation.
You have been listening to Cross Stitch, the Game Woven Talkback series, featuring Brianna Jean, T.T. Benjamin, Emily Anderson, Robbie Rowling, Zadkiel Green, and Lex Olden. If you like what we're doing, please give us a like or a review on your favorite podcasting app. Tell your friends about us. You can support us on our Patreon at patreon.com/GameWoven. You can also support the network. We are a part of the One Shot Podcast Network. Includes so many other truly amazing shows run by amazing creators. So go throw them some support over at patreon.com/OneShot.